welcome to the Misa Yuka podcast. This is Misa.
And this is Yuka.
And I am joining as a guest, Jacob.
Yay! We're so excited for Jacob. Jacob is an English education influencer and Instagrammer. Yay! And just a content creator, like all time, our favorite content creator on the planet.
Really?
We're so excited. Oh, sorry. We're so excited for you to join us today.
Thank you for joining us
and
today.
thank you for coming to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And I love being on the podcast, especially with you guys, because I usually do podcasts on my own.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to
Jacob
have
in the house.
Jacob's house.
Oh, Jacob's house. Jacob's house.
Jacob's
Like,
house.
Corey in the house.
Yeah.
Do you watch
the
that?
house.
I know what that is.
It's Jacob's house.
Jacob's house. It's on everything. Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Podcasts.
So please. I actually have listened to your podcast. But it was like so interesting because like I talked to you, Futsuni,
Right.
like normally. But it was like interesting to just like have your voice in my ears.
Wow. That sounds a little bit
Yeah.
okay.
Well, let's just
Okay, well,
move on.
Okay, well, let's just move on.
That's interesting.
The whispers in my ears.
Wow.
Like, we hear that, but like, it was nice to have Jacob whispering
Oh,
into
yeah.
my ears. It's so funny.
Interesting. Well, we might get. We're talking about romance today, so
Yeah.
that
Well, that's a good segue.
sure, an interesting segue.
Okay, so today we'll be talking about relationships. I think the last time we talked about it, it was like, I think it was like pretty interesting. I don't know.
We
Or
talked about why we don't
have I don't
why
have
Misa doesn't have a
a boyfriend for like many years.
Yes.
But today we have a variety of people of all kinds of with all kinds of backgrounds, right?
Look at that middle
Right.
person, like,
Yeah,
nodding
he's
his
like,
head.
oh yeah. Okay.
He's like, I'm experienced.
We're like complete opposites, I think, when it comes to dating.
Yeah, with dating.
Yeah.
So Jacob, how many like girlfriends have you had in the past?
Have you guys guessed this before? Do you want to guess?
Wait,
I think
we guessed, but I
yeah.
forgot too.
Mm.
Wait, did you forget? I think.
Um,
I know. I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay,
too.
can you say it
So
together?
let's just say it.
Seven.
No, 9.
8.
Oh.
Good.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, so it's 8.
8.
And out of those 8 girlfriends, 7 of those were Japanese girls.
Whoa.
Seven.
Like, that lived in Japan.
No, so I've dated girls who I met in Canada,
Uh-huh.
and then we dated in Canada only,
Oh, okay.
who are Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I've met girls in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had to move back to Japan, so we were kind of dating more over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've met girls where we met in Japan and only dated in Japan.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you keeping up, Misa?
Yeah, I'm just like wow. Like I'm like, where do you like meet these
Yeah.
girls? Like and like how does it all start? I'm
That's
so interested.
pretty interesting. I have a variety too. Of course, I've been introduced from one of my friends, so a friend of a friend,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've had that happen twice. I dated one girl who actually lived in my mom's house as like a
That's so interesting.
room share type of thing.
Okay.
And I went over to my mom's house and I was like, wow, she's really cute. And my mom was like, yeah, she lives here. I'm like, wow.
What?
And then my mom was wondering, she was like, Jacob, you've been over a lot recently. Like, you've been coming over a lot. And I was like, oh, yeah. Because we had to keep it a secret. I didn't
Right.
want my mom to know. But that was interesting. I've dated, I shouldn't say this, but I've dated one of my students before.
Really?
Wow.
Really early on. So not like a recent student. If it's now, it's like very business.
Mm-hmm.
But I dated one of like maybe my 4th or 5th student that ever joined.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think of it as a like really serious business thing yet.
Right.
And that's why I thought, okay, maybe this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up dating like a year and a half. So
Oh, wow.
it was obviously the right.
What is like your longest relationship?
My longest relationship is 4 years. It was from 14 years old to 18 years old.
14.
Whoa, 14.
Okay, when did you start dating?
Yeah.
14. So she's my first serious girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
She's Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah, so we dated the entire 4 high school years.
Wow.
Yeah. normally I wouldn't count a relationship. It was
Right.
if it's from 14,
Right.
but because we like she was my first like girlfriend, first girl I ever brought home, first for
Many.
several other things.
Uh-huh.
Because of that, I think she definitely counts. And yeah, years like 16, 17, like I think that's when yeah, you actually start going on dates and like spending money on presents and stuff like that. So yeah,
How do you even go on dates when you're 14?
Yeah.
Like, does your mom drop you off?
What do you
or-
do?
I didn't
Like-
take the bus.
Okay.
I took the bus a lot. My mom dropped me off sometimes.
Okay.
I had money because I was working part-time at my dad's restaurant since I was 11.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So I could afford to go out for dinner or something. And then she started working at 16, like right when she turned 16. So those 2 years of 16 and 17, we both had enough money to go out for pretty much anything.
That's so crazy. So wow. What's your like shortest?
Yeah.
Shortest, so
Is it like a fling kind
out of the 8 people
Yeah.
that I counted, they're all over like 4 or 5 months. So,
Okay.
so I didn't count anyone who's like a fling.
Uh-huh.
I would say I've had maybe 3 or 4 flings. So it's like, you know, we dated like a month, but I never asked them to be my girlfriend. We went out on a lot of dates. So
I
when we
see, I
so when we say we dated,
Right.
we would see each other multiple times a week.
Right.
I would go to their place. They'd come to my place, but we were nothing official.
So you were casually dating?
Casually dating, I guess.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
like seriously, it's so confusing because in Japan, it's like we have a kokuhaku, right? We like say like I like you, oh I like you, and then like can you be my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and then you guys become official, and then you go on dates, right? It's like when you go on like dato, like you guys are already girlfriends and boyfriends, but in the States or like outside of Japan, it's really different, right?
Right.
Right.
So
Or in Canada.
casual dating, I want to say from the beginning, I'm not a big fan of it personally. Usually when I date someone, I'm very, very serious and very clear about what I want to happen with this person because I don't want anyone's feelings to get hurt. But the casual dating does work for some people. And I've seen a lot of happy people. So what it is basically, I think from the beginning, you pretty much tell them like, I'm not really looking for anything serious. This is how it kind of starts. It starts off like that quite often. And both sides agree to that. And then they'll just go out on dates. I mean, it could be physical, it could be emotional, but they know that there's a certain line that we don't cross. So I wouldn't say that I love you if we were just dating casually. I wouldn't necessarily introduce you to my mom
Right.
or my sister,
Right.
right? There's boundaries.
Right.
Whereas if it was a girlfriend or boyfriend, I think it's easier to be like, hey mom, I have a boyfriend, can he come over for dinner? Or you might say I love you or something stronger like that.
I see. And for you, like, is it usually like you ask that person or like to become your girlfriend or like do they ask you?
For the most part, it's usually the guys who would ask the girl.
Okay.
And there's a few different ways because it depends. I mean, sometimes I've had both situations where I'm like, I really like this girl. I'm just going to ask her right from the beginning. So I'll just be like, I really like you. Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I've also had times where, you know, we've dated, and then it's a little bit more of an explanation where it's like, hey, like, I kind of like the direction we're going. By the way, like, I'd like this to keep going longer, and do you want to be my girlfriend? So I had both where it's like, boom, I decided that day. Even the day we met, I've done that twice.
The day
Wow.
you
The
met.
day
Okay,
we
so
met.
like what kind of like quality?
Yeah.
Like you said you have a type too. Like what kind of like quality, like I don't know, personality do you like and like fits you
Yeah.
to like that person so instantly?
It's hard. To be honest, I think looks are extremely important. I hear a lot of people say that looks don't matter.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
You don't?
No.
I don't agree with that because at some point, like, for example, if you get into an argument with your significant other and you're like totally pissed at them, but you still think she's the cutest girl in the world,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna hold back a little bit more because she's sitting over there angry but cute, right? So I've actually been able to hold back more with people like that than people where I'm like, okay, I think she's cute, but she's not exactly my type.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit easier to be like, bah,
No.
right? So I think it matters. So of course looks are important and your personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But for the other things, like I feel like it should be easy.
Yeah.
If it feels even slightly forced, then I don't want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on a lot of, I'm sure you probably, you don't go on dates. So, but
Yeah.
have you ever been on a date where it feels kind of forced?
Yeah, super forced and like like you're trying so hard, but like the other person's not really trying, and then it's like just like awkward, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on those.
So those are the only two reasons I needed to date those two girls were I thought she was very attractive,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was just so smooth. It was like, wow, I loved hanging out with you, even if it was just once. I was like, can't get enough of you, kind of thing. And it was pretty much like that right until we broke up. Like I didn't really feel a time where I was like, oh, I'm tired of this person. So I feel like for the most part, it was the right decision. I mean, we ended up breaking up for more like deeper problems, like communication problems and stuff. But for the most part, like just hanging out felt really natural.
Like what are like physical appearances you like?
Personally,
Uh-huh.
I'd rather if the girl is shorter than me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's like girls that are like
Taller than you.
Not in Japan.
Yeah.
Japan.
But I'd rather a girl definitely under 170.
Okay.
So I'm 175 centimeters.
Uh-huh.
If I could choose a perfect height, I would say like 158 to 162.
Really?
That range, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So height is that?
This is getting really specific, but like
Yeah.
it's fine.
I mean, no, it's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never heard of height before.
Yeah, like it's
I feel like girls are more like very general and they're just like, oh, just someone tall.
tall or like you know like this kind of eyes or like this kind of nose or something.
I don't know why I'm so specific. Like I've dated girls inside and outside of that group. It's fine. I really like girls who have like a
Chubby.
like a, not chubby, but just like have a yeah good.
Now we're
Our
just
own
playing.
sound
Now we're just
effects.
playing with you. Yeah.
That's always nice. Otherwise, appearance wise, as long as they take care of their like hygiene, which most girls do.
Yeah.
And they make an effort to like, I think it's important to make an effort when you're meeting your significant other to just look presentable.
Right.
Yeah.
I see a lot of couples way more, not so much in Japan. In the West, in Canada, I see all the time where there are couples that meet up in like complete like sweats and stuff like that.
Oh.
And I just feel like it's great to be comfortable. I totally understand. I'm like, wow, like, do you guys never dress up for each other anymore? And they're like, not really. I'm like, wow, that's kind of sad. Whereas in Japan, it's like
Yeah.
they're going out for a date.
Have
Right.
to dress up.
It's so yeah. I think in between those would be better. Yeah. Other than that, I prefer shorter hair too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely shorter hair.
Because like people, that's okay. What else? Eyes took out like eyes, like nose, took out
nothing.
face, took out something like
No.
interesting.
Everything else is fine.
Just like so you care about like height and
like hair.
hair and like looks. I mean like the fashion.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean the fashion is not so much important as just if they care. That's all. It's more of an attitude thing. Anyways,
Right,
I don't want to get too
attitude.
deep into it though. It's not like
Right,
I've
right,
dated
right,
people who
right.
look completely
Yeah,
different.
Right.
So.
But it's like interesting to hear ideal types. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we were just talking about it, like we actually have like this like similar ideal types. It's like really
Like
interesting.
within like for looks.
yeah, for looks.
I watched your video.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
thank
so-
you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, yes,
I kind of know.
Yeah.
What about like personality wise? Like you said, like someone easy, but like
What does that mean?
Because you're
Actually, yeah. What is
because
that?
you're an extrovert. I think kind of.
Yeah.
Like, do you prefer like more introverted or like extroverted or like what?
I don't know
Okay.
because I've dated both types of people, and yeah, I'm not really sure what is a good match for myself yet. I think I've learned after dating a lot of Japanese girls, they often hold back their opinions and feelings. So I don't necessarily always know if I'm doing something wrong, and sometimes don't know if I'm doing something right.
Oh, that is so not easy.
Okay, it's not just girls though. It's also
Oh, sorry.
guys too.
Oh,
Japanese
Japanese
guys. Yeah, I feel like they're just really bad at communicating, like about their own feelings, and it's just
I felt a lot of pressure, I felt a lot of pressure to understand the other person's feelings, and I was kind of sad because I was really trying to, but they almost made me feel like I wasn't making any effort. When I was like, you can just tell me sometimes. But I was feeling like really, really guilty, and it was so stressful.
yeah.
So do you think like one of like the biggest like not the problems or like kikkake like the biggest things that kind of like get into a couple's way is like communication, or like what do you think it is?
Again, I can only speak from personal experience.
Yeah.
It's communication. It's
definitely
definitely,
communication.
especially because I've dated, like, we're different cultures. I have a very good understanding of Japanese culture. They often don't have a good understanding of my Canadian culture, which is very similar to American culture,
Right.
which is fine, but we also have a little bit of a language barrier. A lot of my ex-girlfriends were not fluent in English, and as I was learning Japanese, still learning, I mean, I was not necessarily the best level of Japanese either, especially when it gets to an argument.
Yeah.
It's like, which language are we going to do this in?
Yeah, like didn't that stress you out? Like that would stress me out so much.
It was stressful because
So which language should we fight in right now?
No,
You
literally.
would definitely ask that, Misa.
well, which language would you rather, which language do you guys feel more comfortable expressing your
I think
Opinions.
English for me.
Yeah, English.
Because like in Japanese, I think I'll be mad and I'll try to speak in Japanese, but like kanjao, like I would be like and then
I also-
that would be
yeah.
embarrassing.
I feel like Japanese is also kind of strong in a sense.
Yeah.
Like the meanings are kind of powerful,
Mhm.
and I feel like I'm not like good enough to use it properly.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm more like calm speaking it. Like I can like
Yeah.
get my point across
Yeah.
when I'm speaking in English. Yeah, like more like in a logical sense.
There's like the verbal communication that's like kind of hard, but there's also a love language that I feel like
Yes.
is
Oh,
so different.
Yeah. So what is your love language, Jacob?
Yeah.
What do you think it is for receiving?
Okay. I think like
I think
quality time or
quality time and words of affirmation.
or I think like in like a present. So I know.
I don't think it's present.
Wait, actually, I think you'll like to give presents
Yeah.
and stuff, but to receive, maybe I think it's quality time. Quality time.
My number one is very clear. It's physical touch.
Oh.
So if I'm like, if I'm in like even a bad mood and I just get like a tap on the shoulder, that alone can completely change my mood to be like, I'll be fine. Or if I'm like angry or like frustrated, just like hey, it's okay, or like something like that would really, really helps me calm down. A lot of the Japanese girls that I have dated do not have physical touch as they're giving.
Right.
Some of them are like
Right.
that for their feelers, but it's very rare that that's their way of showing affection
Yeah.
here compared to the Canadian girls that I have met. So that was really hard for me.
Right.
'Cause I was trying to tell my girlfriend, like, you know what? Sometimes I just need a hug or a pat on the back or like,なんかポンポンされて、本当にされて。
いちいち可愛いからなんかもういいよもう。
So that's number one. And then, to be honest, for giving, number one is also physical touch. And then, what do you call it? Acts of service is number
Yeah,
two.
I can see that from you.
Yeah, I do.
So acts of service would be like cooking. So I would always make sure dinner is ready when she would come home.
Wow.
I would-
Did you hear that, everyone? It's crazy. すごいね.
Yeah.
I picked up my girlfriend every day from work at the station.
Wow.
Yes.
What?
So she would finish work and I would meet her on the platform.
What?
Wow. Well, that's like,
So yeah.
it's
Like
like
you're
a
just spoiling
drama.
your girlfriend.
I think
Yeah.
I did a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah, so that's mine. What are your guys's?
Mine? Okay, what do you think
For
mine? For
receiving?
receiving, it's definitely quality time and words of affirmation, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Right. Well,
Okay.
but
But
I
what do
think-
you think you
I
want?
think it applies to like look at your other relationships with family.
I think
Or
like
friends.
quality time.
Mhm.
But I feel like I
But I-
wouldn't really know for like physical touch. Because like for physical touch,
Should we try it out? Sorry. Sorry.
because like I feel like that is like なんていうのかな, that's like a really like I don't really do that with like Yuka, right? I wouldn't like
Yeah, and she-
physically touch like a friend, like a
she's
girlfriend.
really, I feel like she's so awkward with like hugs too.
Yeah.
Like
so-
I'm like a huggable bear, and then Misa's like a fish.
Wow, that is not very nice.
But I was
It's,
like,
like,
yeah, that's
true.
right. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have no idea actually. Maybe like quality time, but
Yeah. When I took the test, I like it was everything was equal.
Wow, okay.
Except for gifts. Gifts was like 1%.
So for both sides, giving and receiving?
I don't know. It didn't really say give or receive, but
I see.
but I feel like after like all like out of the options, I feel like I'm more the words of affirmation and quality time.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's quite common.
Yeah.
I feel like your words of affirmation too, Misa.
Yeah.
Like you like to be confirmed.
Right. I like to, cause like I actually don't have like confidence all the time. I'm like, I like overthink things. I'm like, どうしようかな,
Yeah.
kind of like that. So I would like a person who would be like, okay, you're good. You're doing good.
Yeah, I always tell Misa.
Yeah, like
it's okay, Misa. You got this.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
I got this. I would
Interesting.
like send myself words of affirmation. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you done it. I'm not sure. I would like to explore.
Interesting. Yeah, she
でも
Is this a
when
promotion?
I feel like love language is so important
Mhm.
to know because like without knowing the other person's love language,
Right.
they don't feel loved.
Yes.
Right.
And that's like the biggest thing that like leads to like the fallout.
Hmm.
I think.
Well, that's the thing is like if physical touch was not your way of receiving at all, you can't deny me.
Yeah.
Like if that's how I show
Right.
it, you still have to accept that. Even
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
But a lot of people, they're like, no, I don't. They deny their partner sometimes. I think.
Yeah. They
Right.
don't really try to understand how the other person works and like how the other person wants to feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the denial thing.
It happens. Like my sister is a gift giver, and I don't
Wow.
I don't put a lot of value on gifts, but I realized that when she was, and of course it's a little bit different because she's my sister, but when she was giving me gifts, I was not super psyched or super excited to get them. It was like really hurting her feelings because she went through such a long thought process of what gift to get and how to package it and how to give it to me that I was denying her the satisfaction
Yeah.
because of, personally I don't put a lot of value on it. But once I learned that, I thought, wow, I need to give a nicer reaction for my sister so that she can get her satisfaction.
Right. Wow. すごい.
Understanding is so important.
Yeah. And communicating. But like since you said you like to like mostly date Japanese girls, but like how was like something I can't really imagine, dating someone who doesn't know my languages. It's like pretty impossible for me. Like how was it like that for you? Cuz like you just came to Japan, like you only have like, Japanese girls and like you kind of fall in love. Like how does that even happen?
Well, I think
Like, how do you, like, fall in love?
no, it's
I
a
mean, that's, like, a general question.
it's an interesting
me.
thing. No, I understand because yeah, it's not my culture.
Yeah.
But growing up, I grew up around Japanese people. My dad owns a Japanese restaurant,
Right.
and I grew up around Japanese people, and so that kind of led to my best friends. Even though I was living in Canada, all my closest friends became Japanese people. I think naturally. So I just kind of
Into that culture.
yeah, I just got
you're
into
used
it
to
naturally, and then when I came here, I was like, oh,
Oh.
like this is okay. They kind of talk and kind of act like my best friends. So I'm like, oh, I can fit into this. But then we hit a little bit of a language barrier.
Right.
And then there's more cultural barriers.
Right.
But to me, again, being here, you don't really have a choice.
Right.
You have to adjust. And I enjoyed the adjusting part. And I watched my parents do it because I'm half. I watched my mom adjust to my dad's Vietnamese culture. I watched my dad adjust to Canada for living there. So I thought if they could make it work, then it should work fine for me. I've never had a negative experience like with like I've never felt like because there's a cultural barrier that we can't make this work.
I see.
I was like, I love this person, so we can make it work.
Wow. He has a really open mind.
Yeah, I realized like you have a really open mindset.
Yeah, I think so.
Saying the same things.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Like, what is like, you said like you were like about to like get into marriage too.
Right.
Should we talk about that or no?
We can talk about it. It's fine.
But, like, I just want to like ask you like, what are like the because like what like the qualities that you look for like a girlfriend is much different from a quality you look for in marriage.
Do you think so?
But do you think so, or like, is it the same?
When I'm not searching, but now when I think of I won't date someone if I don't think I can marry them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Because I don't think it's, I don't, when I date someone, I'm not like, boom, we should get married. But I always think with the future in mind.
Right, like, will you be able to?
Well, just personally, I think it would be, again, personally, I feel it's slightly disrespectful to the other person if you don't have the future in mind.
Right.
But at the same time, that was a problem for me because it rushes the process if you're thinking about it too often.
That's true.
So I think it's important to have an image, but you don't necessarily need to be taking action to get to the marriage point. Whereas I had done that with my most recent girlfriend, and I think it went much too quickly. We were supposed to get married sometime next year, and I don't think either of us would have been ready. But because we had gone through the chat and the process so much more quickly than usual, it was like, now we have to. And that pressure of like, now that we have to,
right,
was part of the reason it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So learning from that, I will keep in mind that I try to date girls that I can imagine marrying, but I would stay away from thinking about how that would look too deeply.
Yeah, and that's really important, I think. I feel like if you like kind of hold on to this thing of like, oh, I'm gonna get married to him because I know he'll be like a good dad and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to like break up with that person, even if you're in a toxic relationship, or you feel like you're in a toxic relationship. You're like holding on to this thing like, but he's gonna be a good dad, but we're gonna get married,
Yeah, so
So-
want it to be more natural.
Yeah.
Right.
So imagining that, like, or being able to imagine that you can get married to them is like the good amount of like, lying.
I think it's enough, and you can go a little bit past that, but I'd be very careful
Yeah.
how far you get, and until you're really solid, maybe living together for a while, or
Yeah.
it's around time to have that conversation, I would maybe even stay away from it, based on my experience. But your original question was, what qualities
Yeah, what
Yeah.
qualities
do you look for someone like?
to marry?
For me, it's all about values. Like, I will always put my family before everything. So I like to see people who have good connection with their family,
Mm-hmm.
or who want to have a connection with their family, because I grew up with that. I mean, just a nice person in general is important. I think a person who's working towards making not only their own life, but the people around them like happier, or like, I think that's important. I think, and just a very general, like, common courtesy thing. My biggest pet peeve, the thing that makes me really upset the most, is when people are impolite or rude to staff of any. It could be airline staff, or restaurant staff, or even when they're under a lot of pressure. That's why I said airline, because people are really stressed out when they're in the airport.
Right.
I think it shows their character a lot if they like freak out at someone. So I think that's important.
Like impolite verbally or like attitude wise?
Could be either, I think. And then I think someone with a good work ethic is also important. Like, I'm not a big fan of people who complain. I'm complaining about this, but I'm not a big fan of people who complain about doing work or doing something that I understand. When you don't have an option, sometimes there is nothing you can do, and it's okay, you complain about it. Someone else is doing something that's making you upset. But I don't like when people complain about money, and it's like, well, you only work 32 hours a week, so why don't you work 8 more hours? Why don't you get a part-time job? Or they complain that their relationship is not working. I'm like, did you have a conversation? They're like, well, no, like, that's on him, or no, that's on her. I'm like, you got to do your work. So
Right.
I think that's important.
So true.
Like, values is really important.
Yeah.
Like, what you said. Because, like, that's, like, the way, like, that's, like, how you think.
And those won't really waver, right?
Right.
Like the family values, the working culture values, the putting other people in a, how can I say this? Being nice to other people.
Yeah. I feel like those are really hard to change too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you can't really change
So,
that person's.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
wow.
Wow. This is so interesting to hear Jacob's, like, perspective, because we don't really hear that.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
We've never
We're getting
asked
really personal here.
I don't really talk about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a little bit embarrassed for this to go out, actually.
But, like, maybe, like, or people will relate to this.
I hope so. I mean, the truth is, for me, is if I knew exactly what I wanted, I think I would have a girlfriend. The truth is, I don't know what I want in a person so much, but I know what is not good for me.
Yeah.
So I think when I go forward with dating, I'm usually looking more for the bad. It sounds terrible, but I'm looking for, if this person has a quality that I know I won't be able to deal with
Right.
or cope with, then I try to stay away.
Right.
And then the good stuff, I mean, people have lots of different great things about them. I'm not too picky about that. I don't think.
I see. So, like, when is your timing of, like, going, like, official? Because, like, in Western civilization...
Why do you talk like that?
All of a sudden, we jumped a lot. So I'm just like, what are we talking about?
It's in the Western civilization.
So, like, timing of dating?
Yeah.
Or marriage?
Like what?
With dating.
Well,
Did I jump a lot?
And we were talking.
well, we jumped from marriage back to
back to
dating,
dating.
which is fine.
Yeah.
So what's the question again?
So, like, when is your, like, timing of going official? Like,
Like,
because like you said, like, when you go on dates, like, you're, like, looking for, like, maybe qualities that you might not be able to handle. But, like, what is, like, your, like, do you go on, like, multiple dates before you go official, or, like a 審査期間, like, you have, like a period of time where you kind of, like, observe that person, and then you ask them out, like...
So that's a pretty common question, actually.
oh,
I
Thanks.
I get it. I get that's
No,
a good
it's
question.
It's a good question.
My followers asked me a lot about that.
Oh, see, I want to know.
From my personal, so I'll explain my personal experience and then my ideal,
Okay.
right? My personal experience is I have both.
Okay.
I have ones that I dated literally the first day, and it went really well. And we ended up breaking up, but it went really well. I've had people where I dated the first day, and it went absolutely horrible. I've had times where I got to know someone, and then once I got to know them and it was official, it went really bad right away. So it's hard to do it based on my personal experience because it's all over the place. But the ideal situation, me and Yuka talked about it a little bit earlier, is, to be honest, I think that we should go through a little bit longer period of getting to know each other before committing.
Yeah.
But because of my personality, I'm a feeler.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to do that.
Yeah, we were talking about how, like, we when we know, like, when we have this, like, instant chemistry,
Right.
it's easier to burn out faster too. So I want to try, like, getting to know that person, like, longer and, like, kind of like nuku nuku, you know. Nuku.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm totally on the same page because I haven't had that so much. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, because, like, since you're so open, you know, you're like, like, I like this girl.
It'll work out because I like that girl. You know?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous attitude, I think.
Interesting. I'm more of, like, if well, first of all, like, I don't really, fall in love and stuff easily. Like, I don't really like people easily.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Like,
That's
I don't.
interesting to
Like,
me.
yeah. And I don't, and I would, like, care less. I could care less about, like, a person, especially if it's, like, a guy. Like, I don't really...
Should I go home? Like,
No, Jacob, we love you. Like,
Okay.
it's fine. But, like, I don't really see, like, guys as, like, like, date worthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just don't, like...
I feel like
I'm
in
not,
your
like, the
head,
love mindset.
yeah, you're always like, is he worth my time? Are you worth my time? That's like, you know.
No, I'm not, like, thinking about that. I'm just, like, I think I'm just, like, too, I'm like, I just, like, I think I'm, like, really childish in a way. Like, I only think about myself, probably.
I think,
Like, I only have the capacity to think about myself and, like, what I want to do and, like, the stuff that I want to create and accomplish and stuff. Yeah.
I still think that's impressive though, because you knowing that actually shows how mature you are. Because I think,
really?
well, yeah, I think,
Thanks.
honestly, I think a lot of people who are like you think that they can also handle a relationship, and they end up hurting a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I don't think I can handle.
yeah, I feel like she would hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, and I feel like I have, like, without even knowing. I'll be, like, kind of walking, and, like, people would be, like, hurt. And I'll be like, hi! Yeah. You know? So, yeah, I, like, know that I would not be able to handle a relationship, and even in, like, any kind of relationship, I already see, like, it not working out. You know, like, even, like, with Yuka's relationship, like, I was like, oh, they're gonna break up soon, but it's like a stepping stone.
Wow. So, like, so is it because you look at it, like, from a very realistic point of view? Is that
I think
why?
so. Like, it's just, like, maybe. I'm not really sure, but I'm just, like, yeah. Even if, like, maybe a person approached me, I would be like, like, I wouldn't even, like, kind of, like, try to get to know that person. Like, I would kind of, like, I don't think you're the one.
Interesting.
And, like, judge, like, literally by, like, judge a book by its cover. And, like, literally not, like, do anything. Even if I think I kind of like that person, I would never take it to the next level to try to know that person. Yeah. I think it's, like, because I don't really even know what kind of person I am. And so it's, like, hard for me to, like, get to know a different human being. You know, like, even if, like, when I'm so unsure and, like, unclear about myself, too.
Yeah, I think it's about the capacity.
Yeah, I don't have, like, much capacity to, like, think about a person. It's really stressful for me. I would like my brain to be free.
But if you really think about it, I feel like no one has that capacity to like
Uh-huh.
think about two human beings.
Yeah, it's
So
difficult.
what actually happens is you stop thinking about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of put your mind towards that person.
Yeah, which I don't
and
want to
then
do.
that becomes a little toxic.
Yeah,
because-
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I understand. Misa.
I want to be able to care for myself.
I understand, but I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people.
Mm.
And that's what happens to me. Like, I put all my effort into the relationship, but when that relationship ends, it's like, oh shoot, I forgot about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do now, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's really toxic.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I think that happened to me a lot because I put so much effort into learning the dating culture here. Whereas, like, I never really felt that they were coming my way. It was like, we have to do things 90% the Japanese way and 10% the Canadian or Western way. And I always said, like, if they could even just come 30% my way, I think it's enough. But a lot of them were so far on, we have to do these things that way. I spent so much time focused on that. Like, okay, I can do it. And then I totally forgot, like, no, that's not how I want things for me. It's like, I'm trying to make it work for the two of us, but I'm the only one acting on it.
Right. That would be really stressful for me.
Yeah.
That would be like, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
You know?
That is what Misa would be like.
Yeah. Literally. I would like.
Again,
Yeah. I cannot drop my, like, the stuff that I'm doing for a person.
that's like really admirable though.
Really?
Honestly.
Thank you.
The fact that you know that, like I said before, I think a lot of people go through life hurting people without realizing that they're like you. Like, it's pretty rare to hear someone admit that they're just completely not ready and completely happy doing what they're doing.
Happy as a fly.
Right. Like, what do you think if you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm this type of person, I have certain personal goals cleared, do you think then you'll just jump into a dating situation?
This is like actually my mindset. I literally think that there's going to be a person who's going to be like the perfect match for me, and I like that would be my first boyfriend, and then I'll marry him.
Whoa. So Misa has a Prince Charming. That I think that's a bit of a toxic mindset though. Isn't that dangerous?
Okay, now we know she's immature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her mind is like in the movie
Whoa.
Shrek.
Shrek.
That
Yeah.
we had this.
we were like,
Whoa, that's not what I was expecting you to say.
Well, I really like I don't know, like I think I just don't want to like waste my time.
I think that's fair, but at the same time, this is my personal opinion. I don't think people have a perfect person.
yeah.
Like, I think no matter how perfect it is, it's gonna require a lot of work. Every relationship. My sister and her husband are probably the most perfect couple I've ever seen. And one of the reasons they're the same as day one is because they put in the effort every day, and they have certain things that they do to make sure each person is feeling satisfied.
Right.
But I would be very careful with that mindset.
Mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so
there's
true.
no ideal person.
Right.
You have to make the ideals together.
To get to make it
you
work.
know? Yeah.
Right.
It's about
Are you
effort.
learning?
Right. I'm learning.
It's about
I'm learning.
putting in the effort. So you can't just be like, well, my Prince Charming's gonna come one day.
Careful.
That's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. I guess like I don't fully think that way, but like if I exaggerate my like
Yeah.
way of thinking, it's that.
So I feel like the perfect person for you is someone who has, their career together.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so they can like either pull you up or you can like look up to them.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't feel like you have to like be educating the your little boyfriends.
Yeah. That's like that would be ideal. Like it'll be like I think the ideal relationship is like the Korean couples from Crash Landing on You.
I didn't watch that
Oh,
drama.
you haven't? Oh my
I
god.
probably should.
Yeah, that's like a really ideal
Yeah.
relationship. Like they're both like so established in their careers, and they're like I don't know 38 or something. It's like a really late marriage, but at the same time, like they've actually never had not so many scandals in the past, or like they've never, the woman has like had never, not never, but like hadn't like dated like many times, and I think she was like really into her career. She wanted to, you know, do many things, and then she found the perfect person with like the perfect like drama, and she just married, and she's so happy. And I think that's a really, really ideal, you know, way of like living too, you know.
Yeah.
It was like it's really efficient. You know,
I wish I could do that, but I can't see that ever working out for me because I don't, based on what I do right now, it would be very hard for me to get a long-term visa to stay in Japan.
right?
So that was one of the reasons I was hoping to get married, is like to my ex-girlfriend, is because it would become more solid. I can stay here instead of going back and forth. So I'm kind of jealous in that situation. I can't imagine me being able to stay in one place for like 7 or 8 years and just get to know the person.
That's true.
It's kind of a problem with me. I mean, that's a thing. I think a lot of influencers deal with this, where it's like they're kind of all over the place.
Right.
The stability is not the best, and I know you have to get going soon, so we should wrap it up. But I want to talk about this more later. Like, I wonder, like, what's your thing when it comes to being an influencer? You have to change the way you date a lot. Like, it has directly affected at least 3 of my relationships.
Really?
Wow.
Directly.
Whoa.
And we'll talk about it more.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Next
think
time.
this will be like a part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
be like excited for part 2, because we will definitely do this. We're actually like casually just like talking about this, Suni, and it's so fun. Yay! Okay, so we're gonna do a little part 2 about this relationship thing with Jacob. Please follow his Instagram if you haven't done so, and please
Put it down on
the link below. And tell us, like, let us know in the comments, like, what you felt about our conversation, anything that you related to. Anything will be really cool to hear. And yeah, so, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Please hit a like button. Yay! Good button, like button. If you like this video, and please share it to your friends.
If you like the video.
If you like the video.
Right.
If you like the video. It's okay if you don't like the video.
I don't think they'd be still watching now if they didn't.
Okay. All right. So we're just going to close it off with, I hope you guys are having a great day.
And a great life.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Next video.
I gotta get used to this.
Yay! Bye! Bye! Shake your heads.